Balatro, is it worth a play? Well, it's Marco here from Easily Distracted Games, taking some time away from my current Balatro run to write this review. This poker roguelike shows you a game that you might be familiar with, then smacks you upside your head with cards from who knows where into an addictive, just one more run gameplay that doesn't come around all too often. But should you go all in, or is this game a flop for you? Well, let's find out in today's review of Balatro. So Balatro is a poker game, but is also not. Some core elements are displayed, such as using initial standard deck of cards and requiring certain poker hands to win games. It also throws in some elements like chips and blinds to give you a false sense of what this game is really about though. Addictive, roguelike gameplay. There's also no multiplayer, so it's a bit more like solitaire than actual poker.
You must like to play cards.
I like solitaire, okay? Unless I got someone to play with.
And when it comes to the gameplay, things also take a strange turn. The game consists of 8 stages or antes in order to complete a single run. The game starts by showing you a screen of 3 levels: small blind, big blind, and a boss blind. You start on the small blind, which you can actually skip, but I'll get to that a bit later. See, the objective for each level is to beat the required chip amount. So for example, on the small blind level, I'll need to get over 300 chips to win. The small blind and the big blind are similar in terms of getting a required amount, and same with the boss blind, except that this final level changes things up a bit, throwing in some nasty debuffs like hiding your cards, preventing certain hands that can be played, making the chip requirement very high, and so on. This keeps the game interesting in that you have to always keep your strategy open. Great, so going back to the small blind, I've selected it. How do I win? Well, as mentioned, you can use the basic poker hands, and if you aren't too clued up with these, don't worry, there's a reference table on the left to help you out, especially if you're a beginner to the game. These hands you should be familiar with: the high card, the pair, the 2-pair, the 3 of a kind, the flush, the royal flush, and so forth. Scoring works by how many chips you acquire, multiplied by these multiplier amounts. So for instance, your first hand might be a flush, so X amount of chips, shown in blue, multiplied by the flush's multiplier of Y, shown in red. Sweet, so now you've just beaten the small blind. Big blind is up next with a higher amount. But now see, this is where things get interesting. You can't keep playing the same game without throwing in some unique elements. This is where the store comes in. At the end of the level, you get to the store where you'll get to buy various cards or card packs, which are encased in this cool shiny packaging, reminding me of my younger years, excitedly going to the store with my mom to get the latest Pokemon pack, hoping for that shiny Charizard. The cards here all count towards your endgame strategy and allow you to do various modifications to your current deck. You get your standard cards, and these are the ones where it will be played, so you can technically have more or less than the standard number in your current deck, along with some interesting modifiers to boot. You get your vouchers. Unlike the consumable items, vouchers and their effects are permanent and remain effective for the entirety of a run. These, for example, help upgrade your hand, discount items in the store, and so on. And now onto the consumable cards. For starters, you get the Celestial cards, Spectral, and Tarot cards. Yes, the ones that your aunt is always going on about, all help together to enhance or modify your cards or jokers that you currently have. Oh yes, the jokers. With the Joker cards, and yes, there are currently 150 of them, these bad boys allow you to do some pretty wild shenanigans. For example, Vampire gains 0.2 multiplier per enhanced card played, removes card enhancement. DNA, if first hand of round has only 1 card, add a permanent copy to the deck and draw it to hand. Loyalty card, times 4 multiplier every 6 hand played. Vagabond, create a tarot card if hand is played with $3 or less. Mail-in rebate, earn $3 for each discarded 9, rank changes every round. Ancient Joker, Hologram, Card Shop. And then let's not forget the various seals, additions, enhancements, and other modifiers to make your pack look more like something from Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon than anything else. You get to mix and match with a whole bunch of variations here, even with the decks themselves. Combine this with the various strategic elements, and that right there is what kept me hooked. There's nothing more satisfying than gazing upon your shiny jokers, all knowing that you're about to drop a hand so filthy, so disgusting, so gross, that you cannot wait for that next boss level. I will say this though, my last roguelike game addiction, Vampire Survivors, did one thing that kept me playing until the very early hours: achieving godlike status, flying through the map, destroying enemies like flies. I didn't quite find it here though. Even after many hours of gameplay, and even with a godlike deck, the only dopamine release I was getting towards the end was staring onto that left scoreboard, waiting for the fire to start, and that enough for me was making the game enjoyable. In terms of visual style, it uses pixel graphics along with CRT effects to give you a nostalgic vibe, almost like playing at an arcade or on an old school TV. Everything just looks so tactile. Clicking on things is just fun. Moving over the cards is even an enjoyable experience. And the visual style of each and every card, some reminiscent of pop culture shows or movies, really help polish Balatro more than I'd like to say in other games in the genre. Once you've settled in, I'd recommend bumping up the game's speed, as after a few hours in, you'll know all the hands, and speeding it up just makes the game a lot more immersive and keeps the momentum going. I struggled distinguishing between the various suites as well, so I enabled the high contrast mode just to help prevent any misclicks when choosing a hand. Then come the sounds. I love the sound of the cards, the sounds of the chips, and of course, that sound of winning. Oh, so good. I'm not sure if anyone has ever played Peggle here before, but it's that same sound you get when mad shit is flying around on the screen and you just know that your score is about to go into that Hall of Fame. But then you get the soundtrack, and 2 minutes of the same beat gets a bit much. I know it's meant to be simple, but the monotony did put me off. Devs, please add in some variety, maybe some fire beats on the boss blind or when my jokers are going wild to keep me hyped. And as you know, roguelikes depend on replayability. Why else would you do one more run? Instead of buying unlockable upgrades, say with Vampire Survivors, Balatro uses a simple unlock system you get for achieving certain upgrades. There's even a whole range of challenges you can do just to help flex on your friends. For me though, I just wanted to unlock every single card, win every challenge, slap every ante. It didn't keep me up until 5 AM like Vampire Survivors did. Perhaps my brain just needed a bit more constant movement on the screen to achieve certain dopamine releases. And yes, you will lose in this game. A lot. You can even hit the R on your keyboard if you find a run not going your way. At the 30-minute to 1 hour mark, you'll know if this game is right for you. Play the game anything more than that, and there's a good chance you won't be refunding it anytime soon, especially at a price of $14.99. Oh, and you finish a run? It doesn't stop there. There's even an endless mode to truly see how far your current dank deck can go. There's a whole bunch of challenges that keep you coming back for more harder, intricate runs. And so, is Balatro worth a play? Absolutely. Do you really enjoy Inscription, Slay the Spire? Then you probably have this game already. Vampire Survivors, Dead Cells, Risk of Rain, Into the Breach, Darkest Dungeon, Hades? Then you'll definitely get a kick out of this. If you're looking for a unique blend of deck building and roguelike elements, Balatro is definitely worth checking out. The psychedelic world of unique cards, strategic gameplay, and satisfying pixel art all add to the game's unique atmosphere, making it a truly immersive experience. So whether you're a seasoned poker player or a complete newbie, Balatro has something unique to offer for everyone. Just be prepared to make some tough decisions, because in the world of Balatro, every hand is a gamble. So that wraps up today's video, and if you made it this far, please consider giving it a like, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss another. This is Marco here from Easily Distractive Games. Thanks very much for watching, and most of all, don't stop gaming.